Hello, this is Kayla from Around the World Learning Group. I'm very excited today, very much excited, because today we're going to talk about what we learned in the months of January and February in our Around the World online learning group on Facebook. We're going to talk about what we've learned in the January and February. We went to the country of Liberia in West Africa. And so today I'm going to tell you a few things that I've learned about Liberia. So we did the K. Let's see if I can. That kind of works. I think it's. No, that's correct when you make a K. Okay. All right, so we talked about what I knew about Liberia, and I did not know much about Liberia before learning about Liberia. And when we decided in our group to learn about Liberia, I didn't know much about it. The only thing I knew is that it was something that I had learned in my history class, that Liberia is a place in Africa where African American slaves traveled to from the United States. They were sent back to their home for freedom in Africa. They were sent back to Africa, and and it was in order for them to have freedom, and um, they were no longer slaves, or no long. Yeah, at that time they called them slaves. Um, in the 1800s is when that happened. So um, Actually, I'm not sure if that was the 1800s, but I think it was. We're going to talk about that soon. I have everything written down. It's a lot of information, and I'm excited that we can talk about it. Well, after the K, we have the W here, and that's what we want to learn. What I wanted to learn about Liberia. So there were a lot of things that I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn about the flag, what it stands for. I wanted to learn a little bit about the history. I wanted to learn about the food, and I wanted to find out where are some places that I could go if I were to go to Liberia someday. Um, and then I wanted to learn about the weather and the climate because whenever we go to a new country, I like to find a YouTube video of an airplane landing in that country. And so when I looked at that video, I saw that it looked like it was very, hello, Tracy. It looked like it was very a moist area. From what I saw in the video, there were some palm trees, and it just looked like it had been raining. And so I wondered, it sounds to me like some kind of a tropical environment, and I wonder if it's a rainy place, if it's a dry place. I was curious to know about the climate. So we'll talk about that today. So those were all different things that I wanted to learn about, and learned a lot of wonderful things. So I'm excited to share that with you now. And when we talk about what we've learned, this should be like the other way, but I can't do that because the camera is the opposite way. So we'll talk about the L. That's like what we've learned. All right. I'm going to start by singing the Liberia National Anthem. I'm also going to really quickly show you the flag, and we'll discuss that afterwards. So this is the Liberian flag, and we'll discuss that soon. And right now I'm going to sing the national anthem. All hail, Liberia, hail. Let me get my lyrics. And the national anthem, the writer of the national anthem was Daniel D. Warner. And he was a president at one point of time in Liberia. And the composer was Olmsted Luca. So here's the national anthem. All hail, Liberia, hail. All hail, Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall soon be ours. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers. In joy and gladness, with our hearts united, we'll shout the freedom of our race benighted. Long live Liberia, happy land, this glorious land of liberty, by God's command, a home of glorious liberty, by God's command. All hail, Liberia, hail. All hail, Liberia, hail. In union strong, success is sure, we cannot fail. With God above, our rights to prove, we will o'er all prevail. With God above, our rights to prove, we will o'er all prevail. We will o'er all prevail. With heart and hand, our country's cause defending, we'll meet the foe with valor unpretending. Long live Liberia, happy land, a home of glorious liberty, by God's command. A home of glorious liberty, by God's command. And that is the national anthem of Liberia. And now I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about this flag. It looks very much like the American flag, and it is the same colors as the American flag, and you've got some stripes that are the same colors as the American flag, and you got the blue square and a white star, and there are also white stars on the American flag. And so we will talk about this flag right now. Okay, so there are 6 red stripes on this flag, and there are 5 white stripes on this flag. There's a blue square, and there's 1 star inside that blue square. So let's discuss this flag. Now, these stripes here, now in America there's 13 stripes, and it stands for each of the first 13 colonies. Well, in Liberia, there's 11 red and white stripes, 6 red and 5 white red stripes, and these stand for the 11 signers of Liberia's Declaration of Independence. This blue right here represents Africa. And this white star right here represents freedom to the ex-slaves. This blue here stands for justice, liberty, and fidelity. The white stands for purity and cleanliness. And the red stands for the steadfastness, valor. Steadfastness and valor of Liberia. So that is what this stands for, fervor. Fervor, steadfastness, and valor is the red. And so this is the flag right here. Looks a lot like the American flag, but like once again, it has the 11 original signers of the Declaration of Independence. The blue for Africa, the white for, let's go over this again. I'm looking at my notes. Purity and cleanliness, and also it stands for freedom to the ex-slaves. And then the red, as we said, was for steadfastness, valor, and fervor. And the blue square, like we said, that represents Africa. And liberty, justice, and fidelity. So that is the Liberian flag. All right. So let's learn a little bit about Liberia. Let's start by talking about the location of Liberia. I have a little arrow pointing here to Liberia, and it's in Western Africa, and it is right on the Atlantic Ocean. So we'll talk a little bit about the location here. Got a few different maps to show you. All right. So I'm going to open this book as well. This is Collins World Atlas, Explore the World. So I'm going to open up to where it talks about not where it talks about, but where it shows a picture of the Liberian map, or the African map. Let's see here. Let's see if there's a bigger picture in here. Okay. All right. What do you have here? This is Liberia. This is showing you a backwards picture. So anyhow, but that is okay. You got the Atlantic Ocean right here. There's the Atlantic Ocean on the west. And then we will talk about where everything is here. And so it is bordered by the Ivory Coast to the east here. Or Côte d'Ivory. And then to the east is going to be, to the northeast is going to be Guinea. And then to the north is Sierra Leone up here. And I'll show you this little map right here. It's a picture of Liberia. And we have here the Ivory Coast to the east. We have Sierra Leone to the north. And we have the Atlantic Ocean to the west. And we have the equator to the south. It's approximately between 300 and 400 miles north of the equator, which means that it is a very warm, hot, and humid place. Being near the ocean and also having the heat of being near the sun makes it a very hot and humid place. And so I have a picture here, a line here with the equator and a sun to show that it is right near the sun. And that gives it a pretty warm climate all year round. So let's talk about a few different things here. I have here, okay. All right, here's another map. All right, so let's talk about the weather. So near the coast, and pretty much throughout Liberia, it stays between about 80 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year. There are 2 seasons. In November through April, you have the dry season. And in the month of December, I learned in the book about Liberia, which I will reference at the end, is that you have a kind of like a desert dryness, desert wind that comes in around that time because the Western Sahara is north of Liberia. And so in December, the dry wind comes down to Liberia, as it's said in the book. And we'll talk about the resources afterwards. This was Countries of the World, Liberia by Robin S. Stoack. Okay. So we know that the Western Sahara is up to the north. If you keep going north, 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 you got Western Sahara. Northwest. It's in Northwest Africa. And so they get that kind of dry air from the Western Sahara in December. And then from May to October, you have the rainy season. So you got your dry season in November through April, and May through October, you have your rainy season. And let's talk a little bit about what we have here. We're going to talk a little bit about the land. Okay, so here near the ocean or the coastal region, you have rainy and humid weather. And it consists near the ocean of low plains, swamps, lagoons, and sandbars in the coastal region. And then as you go into mainland Liberia, to the mainland, in the middle you have plateaus and thick tropical rainforests. And then as you go to the north, you have low mountain ranges up in the north. So that is that for that. I think we've talked a little bit about what the land is like and what the weather is like. So that's the climate. Now I was thinking we could talk about the jobs that people do in Liberia. So farming is definitely a very important job in Liberia. A lot of farming is done. You also have plantations. So you have rubber plantations, coffee plantations and cocoa plantations. And you also have mining, and they have deposits of iron ore, gold, and diamonds. And then I thought we'd talk about the national sport, which is soccer. And Liberians participate in the African Nations Cup. And then I thought we would talk about the religion. It says in the book that 85% of the population is Christian, 12% Muslim, 1.5% is other, and another 1.5%. Let's see what that is. I'm trying to remember what that other 1.5% is. Religion. And then for languages, they speak English as one of their main language. There are also at least 20 tribal languages there. We can talk about the holidays. I'm only going to list a few of the holidays, not all of them. But if you want to learn more about the holidays, you can go to timeanddate.com, diagonal holidays, diagonal Liberia, and then another diagonal. I'm going to, for the YouTube video, we're going to pause here, and then I will join you in a minute.